Greetings, all. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Some of the best views anywhere in the world. But, oh well. Gotta keep moving because I'm driving. Brought my car to the mechanic this morning. But, seemed like he took a break. So, return another day. Another day and taking a extended drive on the return trip. Here in the Cave Hill area. Around the University of the West Indies, Barbados campus. power company in Barbados. Supplies Barbados with all the power that needed. The system works pretty good. I encountered will my car make it down through this? Rough terrain. I'll have to go the other way and add on a couple of miles. It's made it. All those barrels of rum. All those barrels of rum. Wow. Never seen and had so many barrels out before. This is one of the famous rum companies in Barbados. First one that started making coconut rum. Very popular, especially in the morning. We arrived here 7 o'clock in the morning, couldn't find a parking space, and getting a spot in this little pool right here was the most difficult thing you could ever think of. But now it's changed because from those pipes used to discharge hot water. But now they changed the turbines on the power company from diesel to propane, and the water is not as hot as it used to be. No, because the generators then don't need as much cooling as the diesels did. That's the port of Barbados. To our left right here. We have a lot of water flow, but not much cooling. This used to be a huge pool, always had fish in it. But somehow the pool has now disappeared almost, and the birds took care of the fish. Once upon a time long ago, this used to be a fishing village. And not long ago, you only find about 2 or 3 boats now. The boats have returned, or are returning. I have to get a small boat too. I can come down here, just put it in the water, and go offshore. I have to get a inflatable boat. Ship it down to Barbados. Horseback riding. If that fort wasn't built there, you can pretty much walk from to Speightstown all the way to the airport. Actually, you might have to go into the water, maybe about a foot or so at times, but it's one long beach area. Wow. A lot of water coming out of this place. There are times when the water moves all of this sand and rock. And it's hot. Check the temperature and see what it's like now. Yeah, it's not hot anymore. You can tell that they switched over from diesel because the color of the exhaust is no longer kind of gray. The exhaust is no longer gray, it's white, almost to nothing. Oh, the smell of that rum. Anyway, well, wow. When you were young, we used these those of you who are from Barbados, you know what these are. When I was a little kid, we used those. We didn't have glue to make our kites with, so we had to use that to make the kite. Now we return home. Back on the road again. This time in slow motion. Anyway. Well, which direction do I go in now? It's funny. Oh, the highway, the fastest way, or the other way, which is the rough terrain. You gotta take the highway. Hopefully, you'll do okay. But that's funny. As I was thinking that, so maybe that's the way life is. Try to not really cheat, but take the easiest path. You know, not always the best sometimes, but it's the easiest. You know, it's like long road around. If you're walking and then sliding down the hill, you know. That's the thing we have to deal with throughout our lives, you know. Now we're hearing, last night before I went to bed, and look at, like, a lot of things passed across my screen. And now the rumors are spreading about the imminent demise of Donald Trump. But I can people that think Trump is bad, and Trump he's trying to make the best deal that America can get. That's the only thing I can tell you. Right now, America really can't make any deals. The only thing they can do is say, you know what, we got the military that we can come in and destroy you. We got the capability, you know, whether it be CIA or NSA or even, you better believe that the CIA has got. If Epstein wasn't working for the CIA and the Israeli secret police, they would have somebody else doing the same job. That's how they get things done. You know, they've always used. Anytime you see that America, like the other day, America said they're going to take over the canal, Panama Canal. The president of Panama stood up and said, no, you're not, no. Then he got a call from the president of the United States and said, you don't really want to do this because da. The next day, 48 hours later, he was back almost in a apologetically, he didn't say please, but he did. And the same thing with Mexico. The Princess of Mexico, and those of you who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. The Princess of Mexico, she's talking tough, but really she don't have the cards. Even the cartels in Mexico have more cards than she does. And if you watch her words lately, she has been very accommodating. Why? Because she stands to lose so much. You don't get into office in places like this without somebody having something to hold over your head. You know? Told you about the Barbados, the politicians in Barbados. It's one party. They might say, yeah, I'm a D, I'm a B, I'm an independent. You got one party. Everybody is controlled by not even the Barbados public, externally. Everything you do is reported to the British Embassy, the Canadians, the Americans, somebody. You got to get the okay. But like I said, America has got to make the best deal that it can. And more people in the world, like say for instance, 30 years ago, 20 to 30 years ago, you had the Asian, what they call the Asian monetary crisis. Today, you might see something like that begin, but it wouldn't end good for the Americans. Before that, the same guy who was Treasury Secretary, the man called Hester, him and his boss wreaked havoc on the country using the CIA, on the ASEAN. They took out Korea, Japan. After building up their stock markets to highs, they just came and chopped the feet off, and then they owned all the banks in Asia. Today it's a little bit different. The banks are not connected. They're connected to SWIFT, yes, but anytime that the U.S. or the British or whoever, French, try to do something, they can switch over to the Chinese or Russian, and you can see what's happening now. The dollar every turn, except in places like the Caribbean, Central America, South America, and Africa, it's losing its strength. When you got China that is not buying anything pretty much in dollars. They're not buying Boeing equipment, billions of dollars lost from Boeing and the U.S. economy, and other people too. Because everybody, the Japanese, the Koreans, they all got a piece of Boeing airplanes. John Deere is gone. Chinese make their own tractors now. U.S. soybean, U.S. pork. All that business is going to other countries. And those billions of dollars in income for the U.S. and its farmers, technical people, gone. Now you see it happen to NVIDIA. NVIDIA, IBM, all going down. And then there's the one from the Dutch that they used to sell the equipment to China to make chips. And then they started playing the fool. And now China is making not the most technically advanced chip, but one that runs everything. See, the ones that are coming out now are not yet being put into cars and airplanes and all that. The ones that came out 5 years ago, those are the ones that are being used right now in everything. And that's the one that the Chinese are making. So China don't have to buy NVIDIA's chips, even for their most cutting edge aircraft. Because the funny thing is that when the US thought they were cutting off the Chinese from the advanced chips that go into airplanes and missiles, the Chinese came back and created a technology using the old chips that works as good or better in those systems. And everybody bid up those NVIDIA and everybody else, thinking that the Chinese can't make anything better and and the Chinese economy is going to fall apart. And sure enough, China came back, and then all those companies that the US that was being bid up in price on the stock market, stock's gone because the Chinese pull out of their market. So we are losing like I don't know what, and we may recover a small amount if the Chinese make a deal. But look at what they did to Brazil. They told the Brazilian, you know what, you're gonna charge you so and so for every product that comes into the US. And Brazil will say, okay, no problem, we just won't sell it to you. We'll sell it to the Chinese. Sure enough, boom, Brazil is gone. Same thing happened to the Russian. Russian is gone. Now I'm hearing rumors that the Russians are going to make a deal to sell the pipeline gas. Well, it shouldn't be rumors because people in the business are talking about this. The pipeline gas is going to go now to America, and then the Americans are going to sell it to the Europeans. The same Europeans who want to continue fighting the war in Ukraine. Let America say, hey, we're losing too much money there, we out. So now America is going to be buying the gas for the Russians just like how the Indians are buying it. Even though they're complaining that the Indians are buying the gas, they're going to charge you an extra 25% tariff because you're doing business with the Russians. Now America is coming and saying, if you want to do business with the Russians, you're going to buy the gas and sell it to the Europeans now. Huh? Imagine that now. Just imagine that. America doing business with Russia. America now is telling the Europeans, you want to fight a war for Ukraine. Here's the deal. You're going to buy the weapons from us because your weapons, you don't have the ability to make weapons. Mind you, America don't either because the Chinese are withholding the materials that they need to build the weapons. So Americans falling behind in their weapons production and weapons. Well, you can see the weapons quality for what happened in Ukraine, except for the very, very pinnacle. Except for the very pinnacle of American weaponry. Move back so this guy can get out. Except for the very pinnacle of Americans' weaponry, the Ukrainians got the best weapons, and the Israelis too. The Israelis got the best, actually, except, anyway, they got the best. F-35 Tomahawks, the high altitude missile that can supposed to be able to bring down other missiles. And guess what? They failed against Iran. So now the America is trying to catch up in missile technology, and it's losing on the economic side to everybody now. I'm serious. It's only islands like the Caribbean and Central America. Even Venezuela is going its way, and they sending warships down to take out Venezuela. For the longest time, we took the easiest way out. We just took out a hammer and hit everybody in the head. I remember, 5-6 years ago, on a podcast that we used to have called Black Brain Trust. Black Brain Trust. I was telling people, look, if we have any kind of diplomatic sense, we'll just go down to Venezuela and say, look, here's the deal. We don't really want to overthrow your government. You in our sphere. Fair price for your, what you call it, you treat your people the way you want to. We are not going to interfere with your economy. But instead they took Venezuela's gold, them and the British. They try to overthrow the country. They try to kill the man. All that pushed Venezuela into Russia and Chinese. Now they're standing with a warship, another hammer, off the coast of Venezuela, and you got Trinidad acting the fool. Now if the Chinese push back, and Chinese are not going to go send warships to Venezuela. Chinese are going to just call Trump and say, look, you're acting the fool now. If you go into Venezuela, here's what we are going to do to your economy. Trump will keep the weapons there for a little while. And then you're saying, you come out and say, look, we were just running exercises to see in case we have a war in South America, how we can go about this. Move the ships, just like he did against the Houthis. He just throw a couple of bombs and the Houthis shot back, and now it's over with. The other day, they and the Israelis took out the Houthi prime minister, the head of state. And the Houthis now shot back. And now the Israeli prime minister is running. Can you imagine now them attacking Iran again? Just think about it. And especially Iran, they have a plan to attack Turkey. There have been rumors all over the place all saying, hey, Turkey is in line. And if you remember, they tried to take out Erdogan, president of Turkey, before. Things that, I mean, when you try to go down this short path sometimes, it doesn't work. Use a hammer on everything. Buy a screw gun for a screw. Don't use a hammer on it. If you got a nut, you use a pliers or a wrench. Don't use a... You got a nut, use a pliers or a wrench. Don't use a hammer and a screwdriver. But that's what we do, you know what I'm saying? Throughout life. Do the same thing over and over and over. And as you can see, America is suffering from it now. Anyway, we're gonna stop here at the local grocery, the local palenque, as the lady called it. The palenque is a Tagalog word for fresh food market in the Philippines.